When you're looking at a high-end gaming laptop, the first question that pops into most people's heads is whether the price tag actually translates into a machine that will hold up in everyday life and not just on paper. I know the hesitation spending a few $1,000s on a laptop that looks amazing in the specs sheet can feel like a gamble, especially when you have to juggle gaming, streaming, and maybe a bit of work on the side. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Lenovo Legion Pro 7i tries to answer that gamble by packaging a top-tier Core i9-13900HX, an RTX 4080, and a 240Hz QHD Plus panel into a 16-inch chassis that's meant to be both a desktop replacement and a portable rig. What I'm really trying to figure out in this review is whether that combination feels balanced when you actually sit down at a coffee shop, a cramped dorm room, or a dedicated gaming setup, and whether the trade-offs hidden behind the headline numbers make sense for the money. Let's start with the display, because that's where you'll spend most of your time. The 16-inch screen is QHD Plus and pushes 500 nits, which is a solid brightness level for indoor gaming and even bright windowsills. The anti-reflective coating does what the name promises. It cuts down on glare enough that you can keep the laptop on a desk next to a window without constantly wiping smudges away. The 240Hz refresh rate is where the gaming experience really shines. In fast-paced shooters or racing titles, the motion feels buttery smooth and you can actually see the difference between 60Hz and 120Hz, let alone 240Hz. For a creator who also streams, that fluidity translates to less choppy footage when you capture gameplay directly from the laptop. Now, performance. The Core i9-13900HX is essentially the desktop-class beast in a mobile package. In real-world testing, it handles modern AAA titles at high settings without throttling for hours, provided you keep the laptop on a hard surface. The RTX 4080 12GB GPU is the real workhorse here. It gives you room to run ray tracing with DLSS enabled and still hit that 240Hz ceiling in many games. What's more, the 16GB of DDR5 RAM, while not massive by today's standards, is paired with a 1TB NVMe SSD that loads worlds in seconds. I found that the combination feels fast enough for both gaming and the occasional video editing session. However, there's a hidden trade-off. The laptop runs hot under sustained loads, and the fans can get noticeably loud. If you're planning on late-night gaming in a shared space, the acoustic profile might be a point of friction. Portability is another practical angle. At 2.8 kilograms, the Legion Pro 7i isn't the lightest on the market, but it's still manageable for a 16-inch gaming machine. The chassis is sleek, with a matte Onyx finish that hides fingerprints better than the glossy alternatives. The keyboard has decent travel, and the perky RGB lighting can be dialed down if you prefer a more muted aesthetic for work. The real convenience comes from the array of ports: 3 USB-C, a full-size HDMI 2.1, and an Ethernet jack so you can hook up to a monitor, a wired network, or external storage without needing a dongle hub. For someone who moves between a dorm desk, a friend's place, and a home office, that versatility is a genuine strength. Battery life is where many high-end gaming laptops stumble, and this model is no exception. With the screen set to 120Hz and the GPU idling, you can expect around 4 to 5 hours of mixed-use gaming for an hour, then some web browsing or video streaming. Push the laptop into a full-blast gaming session, and you'll see the charge dip in under an hour. If you intend to game on the go without an outlet, you'll need to bring a power brick. That's not a surprise for a machine of this power, but it's something buyers should be aware of before they imagine long flights with the laptop unplugged. Who should consider buying the Legion Pro 7i? If you're a serious gamer who also dabbles in content creation, think streamers who want to edit footage on the same device they game on, or a professional who needs a portable workstation capable of handling 3D rendering or CAD tasks, this laptop hits a sweet spot. The high refresh rate and RTX 4080 make it future-proof for the next few years of gaming, while the anti-reflective screen and robust I/O keep it functional for productivity. On the flip side, if you're primarily looking for a lightweight travel laptop, or you're on a tighter budget, the weight, fan noise, and battery constraints might push you toward a thinner Ultrabook or a desktop solution. From a value perspective, the Legion Pro 7i's price is anchored by the RTX 4080 and the i9 CPU, both of which are still premium components in the market. The real value comes from how those parts are integrated. You get a machine that can run the latest titles at max settings, stream without a hitch, and still handle non-gaming workloads without resorting to a separate workstation. The